For most of human history, money did not exist. Not in paper. Not objects, coins. Not even as an idea. And yet, somehow, your ancestors built it. Not on purpose. Not in a meeting. By accident. Picture two humans 50,000 years ago standing across from each other holding rocks. One has flint. The other has dried meat. Neither of them is thinking about economics. Neither of them has a word for price. But something is about to happen between them that will eventually lead to credit cards, central banks, and your monthly rent. This is the strange, slow, completely unplanned story of how humans tripped into inventing money. And the truth is nothing like the version you were taught in school. The textbook story goes like this. Once upon a time, people bartered. A man with a chicken met a man with a pot. They traded. Everyone went home happy. Then bartering got annoying, so humans invented coins to make it easier. It's a clean story. It's also almost entirely wrong. Anthropologists have spent more than a century looking for a real society that ran on pure barter, and they keep coming back empty-handed. The famous anthropologist David Graeber pointed this out bluntly. Pure barter economies, the kind in the textbooks, basically never existed. So if money didn't come from barter, where did it actually come from? Here's the important part. It came from something far older, far weeder, and far more human. It came from debt. Imagine you're a hunter-gatherer, roughly 30,000 years ago. You wake up in a small band of maybe 25 people. You've known every face since birth. You hunt with these people, sleep beside them, raise children with them, and one day you'll be buried near them. In a group that small, nobody is keeping score with rocks or shells. If you bring back a deer, you don't sell slices of it. You share it. Tomorrow, someone else's hunt feeds you. Next week, someone fixes your spear. Next month, you watch their child while they're sick. There's no price. There's just memory. And memory, it turns out, is the original currency. Every favor given is a quiet thread of obligation. Every meal shared is a tiny IOU floating invisibly through the camp. Anthropologists have a name for this. They call it a gift economy. It's not generous in the way we mean today. It's strategic. A gift you can't immediately repay binds the other person to you. Think about that for a second. For tens of thousands of years, the glue holding human groups together wasn't coins. It was unpaid favors. Your ancestors were walking around inside an invisible web of who owed whom what. And their brains were built for it. Humans are eerily good at remembering social debts. We forget where we put our keys, but we remember exactly who didn't chip in for the group dinner 3 years ago. That isn't a flaw. That's prehistoric accounting software, still running in your skull. Now fast forward. The bands get bigger. Villages form. Suddenly, you're surrounded by faces you don't fully know. Memory alone can't track every favor anymore. So humans started outsourcing memory into objects. In some places, it was shell beads. In others, polished stones, special feathers, or pieces of copper. These weren't money yet. They were more like receipts. A bead said, in effect, you gave something, and the group remembers. Archaeologists have found shell beads in graves more than 100,000 years old. Long before farming. Long before cities. Humans were already making objects that stood in for relationships. And then came the twist that changed everything. Around 12,000 years ago, humans started farming. And farming created a problem that gift economies couldn't solve. Surplus. Grain. Lots of it. Stored in jars, in pits, in temples. Suddenly, someone had to keep track of who deposited what. In ancient Mesopotamia, scribes started pressing little marks into wet clay to record it. 5 jars of barley owed to the temple. 20 sheep owed to the king. This is not a metaphor. The earliest writing we have anywhere on Earth is mostly accounting. The very first thing humans wrote down was debt. Not poetry. Not laws. Not love letters. Spreadsheets. If you've ever felt your soul leave your body opening an Excel file, take comfort. Your ancestors invented writing for the same reason, and they hated it just as much. These clay tablets were the first banks. The temple held your grain, recorded what you owed, and tracked what you'd be paid. You couldn't carry your debt in your pocket yet. But the idea of measurable, transferable obligation was now loose in the world. And once that idea exists, it can't be uninvented. Here's where I want to pause for a second and ask you something. If you were running an ancient temple in 3000s BC and grain was rotting in your storerooms, what would you use to keep track of who owed what? Drop your answer in the comments, because what humans actually chose is stranger than you'd guess. Now keep going, because the next move is the one that quietly built the modern world. For thousands of years, debts in these early cities were measured in barley. A worker's wage might be a fixed weight of grain per day. A fine for breaking a law might be so many bushels. But hauling barley around is exhausting. So merchants started using a smaller, denser stand-in. Silver. Weighed out lump by lump on little scales. You weren't really paying in silver. You were paying in a number of barley units, just expressed in metal. The metal was the symbol of the debt, not the thing itself. Read that again, because almost no one understands it. Money didn't start as a thing. It started as a number. A unit of account scratched into clay, then later carried in a pouch. The lump of silver was just the most convenient form for the number to write around in. This is why economists still argue about what money really is. Because at its core, money is a memory of obligation dressed up in something portable. Coins, the round stamped kind you'd recognize, didn't show up until much later. Around 600 BC, in a kingdom called Lydia in what is now Turkey, a king finally said, "Enough weighing. Let's mint identical lumps of electrum, stamp a lion on them, and guarantee the weight." Now any merchant could trade without dragging out the scales. Coins exploded across the ancient world within a few centuries. Greeks, Persians, Chinese, Indians, Romans. Every civilization that touched coins picked them up and ran. And here's the strangest part. Most people, looking back, assume coins were the beginning of money. They weren't. They were a late, polished accessory. Money had already been alive in clay and memory for thousands of years before the first coin was ever struck. The coin just made it shiny. And once coins existed, something psychological flipped. Money started to feel like a real thing. A separate substance, like water or stone. People began to chase it for its own sake. Empires built armies to collect it. Wars were fought to mint it. Religions warned against it. A neutral memory aid born in a Stone Age camp had quietly grown into a god. Now zoom all the way out. A band of hunter-gatherers shares a deer. Someone remembers the favor. A bead is strung to market. A clay tablet records it. A lump of silver carries it. A coin standardizes it. A piece of paper promises it. A number on a screen replaces it. Every step, humans were just trying to remember who owed what. We never actually invented money. We invented better and better ways to outsource our memory. And each upgrade rewired how we lived. Farming gave us debt. Debt gave us writing. Writing gave us cities. Cities gave us kings, taxes, armies, and eventually you scrolling through your bank app at midnight. A tiny thread of obligation traveling unbroken from a Stone Age campfire to your phone. The wildest part is how invisible all of this still is. You don't think of your salary as a clay tablet. You don't think of your rent as a shell bead. You don't think of your credit card as an IOU whispered across a prehistoric camp. But that's exactly what they are. Modern money looks nothing like its ancestor and behaves exactly like it. It's still a record of who owes whom. It's still backed mostly by trust. It's still only worse because we all agree to remember the same story. The currency in your pocket isn't really paper. It's a promise, dressed up. And that promise is the same one your ancestors made by a fire 50,000 years ago, when one of them handed the other a piece of meat and quietly expected something back someday. So tonight, when you tap your card to buy coffee, notice what's actually happening. A favor is being recorded. A debt is being created and erased in the same heartbeat. A custom older than agriculture, older than writing, older than cities, is running silently through a chip the size of your fingernail. You are using the oldest social technology our species ever built. You just stopped noticing. If this changed how you see the cash in your wallet, hit like so more people stumble into it. Subscribe to Hominin for more videos on the strange, accidental ways your ancestors built the modern world. And tell me in the comments, what's the oldest debt you can think of in your own life? A favor you still feel like you owe someone? Because next time, we're going somewhere even older. Back to a question your body still hasn't gotten over. Why humans, almost alone among mammals, started walking on two legs and what we lost the day we stood up. See you there.